Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bexar County Court at Law number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. Motion to revoke probation docket. Today is Thursday, August 19th, 2021, and it is approximately 10:25 a.m. Cases I have set for hearing today are cause 6355510, State of Texas versus Joe Diaz, represented by Ross Brendel. Cause 640-941, 642-648, and 660-603, State of Texas versus Alexis Garcia, represented by Mr. Mick Aguilera. And Pat, did you say that Mr. or Miss Garcia has COVID and therefore will not be present today?
He's in quarantine, Your Honor. Yes.
Cause 637-223, State of Texas versus Fred Vasquez, represented by Miss Linda Corley. Is Linda with us today?
Your Honor, they're finishing up the paperwork. They're just getting him to sign right now.
And cause 643-870, State of Texas versus Ishawn Napier, represented by Mr. Pat Hancock. Cause 641-356, State of Texas versus Jonathan Flores, represented by Mr. John Perez Jr. And cause 610-326 and 628-026, State of Texas versus Orlando Martinez, represented by Mr. Ray Martinez. Starting with Mr. Joe Diaz, 6355510. What we got here?
I sent you an email. I don't know if you got it because I just sent it yesterday.
Did it talk about some sort of personal issues regarding the defendant?
Yes, and his daughter's actually about to have surgery too. So, it was just a deferred adjudication DWI that kind of spun out of control with the some violations and everything. So he's a really good guy. And, we were hoping that, we could get him out of the jail and get him back home to take care of his daughter. And he doesn't drive. So his car is not being used. He will not be on the road.
Mr. Brendel, this hold what you got. We're not in a hearing yet. Did you send the state the copy of the same message you sent me?
Okay, send who?
Did you send the state a copy of the same message you sent me?
Yes.
All right. In the future, that's going to be reserved for the hearing stuff. We don't really need it in advance. I mean, you're welcome to do whatever you want to do. As long as you send a copy to the state, we'll look at it, but it all needs to come out during the hearing.
Okay.
Okay, today's hearing representing the state, Ms. Megan Galloway, Mr. Guillermo Flores, representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who I will swear at this time. Ms. Gross, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Okay, this is cause 6355510, State of Texas versus Joe Diaz, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. This is a second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. The first document I need Mr. Brendel and Mr. Diaz to identify their signatures on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. Mr. Diaz, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Mr. Diaz, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked as a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has the right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, not the underlying conviction. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Diaz?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this also your signature on this document, Mr. Brendel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. My understanding is this is an uncontested motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Is that accurate, Mr. Brendel?
Yes.
What I normally do is allow people to enter pleas of either true or not true with an explanation. And of course, you can explain your side of whatever's going on. And that clarifies it for everybody. Okay. Mr. Diaz, in cause 6355510 on the second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
True.
And Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Diaz's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, if you're not being spoken to, please mute your microphones. We're getting feedback. Okay, Judge, the defendant has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on August 3rd, 2021. He has not made any payments. He has a balance of $1,220 and he is delinquent $125. He has not made any community service hours and he owes 24. He has had 4 positive drug tests. 2 of them have been for alcohol on the Smart Start mobile device, 1 via UA drug testing, and then he's also had 1 positive for benzodiazepines. We have no proof of enrollment or completion of DWI education, victim impact panel, or the CATSNP program. He's currently testing on Smart Start mobile at 8 times a day. He has had 29 skips, 2 high BRACs, 0.030 and 0.56. He is currently in lockout for noncompliance. This is his first violation report, first MTR. However, he was previously on deferred adjudication and he was found guilty on a prior MTR and placed on regular probation on July 29th. His criminal history includes an assault, bodily injury arrest, assault of a PO or judge, and a possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 3, less than 28 grams. His officer is recommending that he go to SATF and then follow up with aftercare.
Okay, Mr. Brindell, my big problem appears I can't stop Mr. Diaz from drinking. You want to address that one for me?
Well, he's not driving, so you know,
Good.
I think the
Glory be.
drinking.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I know the drinking and the violations can be an issue, but I think the main focus on here is him driving and drinking. You know,
And
we
now-
talked about him seeking counseling he has a very, stressful life. He lost his wife. You know, I think counseling would be a good thing for him just to help him with the stresses in his life. And, you know, him not driving, you know, I think pretty much solves that issue in concern of getting out on the road and, you know, having a wreck or anything like that.
All right, Mr. Brindell, now's the good time for you to bring up all those issues you sent the state and me apparently in an email yesterday or day before.
Okay, I'll read it. Mr. Diaz initially had deferred adjudication, DWI, and he had some violation of his probation having to do with breathalyzer. Since he's in jail, he turned himself in as a result of the warrant, which shows good faith on his part. He could have, you know, did it other ways, but he didn't know. So he spent a week in jail. He's a very nice person. He has a very supportive family. He lost his wife. He's in his 20s. He has a handicapped daughter with special needs who's actually going to undergo surgery here soon. He's an important foundation in her life. And right now he's unable to care for her because he's in jail. And we discussed counseling to help with these tragedies. And he has, you know, learned from everything and, you know, wants to get back and get everything straightened out in his lives.
I'm also getting representations from the probation department that when Mr. Diaz is taking tests, his hand is obstructing his face during the test and he's allegedly tampering with the test tube. What's all that about?
I haven't heard those allegations, but, you know, considering that they're standing there from what I understand, I think he's just, you know, a little bit stressed out and he's not used, you know, being in jail is stressful for him. So, you know, just the basis of this was a DWI and he's not driving. You know, we talked about counseling and everything. And I think he just, you know, he has a really stressful life and, you know, we're going to, you know, counseling would be a good thing for him to, you know, help really, you know, take care of these stresses and, you know, get his life back under control and everything.
Mr. Diaz have any interest in going to our substance abuse treatment facility inpatient drug alcohol rehabilitation program? That's the best thing I can do for his daughter is to get her father off of alcohol and drugs.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, here's how that would work. If he's interested in doing that, I'm going to take away his deferred and find him guilty of the DWI first. He's going to stay in jail, prepare medical. Susan can brief us up on this. Yes, Susan. Go ahead.
Judge, you've already taken away his deferred. You put him on regular probation on July 29th.
Okay. Then why am I looking at a second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt?
I'm not sure, Judge.
All right. Regardless, so he's already been convicted of that. Doesn't matter. He's in jail. They'll take what? Probably plus or minus 2 weeks for him to clear medical, and then they have open beds at SATF. Does that sound right?
No, Judge. It's going to take probably 4 to 6 weeks before he can be cleared due to the COVID situation. Even though he may have been in jail for some time, once they receive the paperwork and everything, then the clock starts. He has to do a minimum of 14 days and then go through the medical. And so right now it's taking between 4 and 6 weeks to get anybody from paperwork to transport.
Okay, well, that's not good. Mr. Brindle, what it boils down to is I'm still offering him SATF, but obviously all the issues regarding how long it's going to take to get him there, that Ms. Gross just pointed out, probably plus or minus a month to 6 weeks in jail before he goes. He would be there the minimum amount of time, which is 120 days. I can send him up to 180 days. I don't really need his permission to send him. I can just send him, but obviously it's silly for all of us to try to put defendants in a place they don't want to be and they're not going to listen and pay attention anyway. So if he wants to volunteer for that, I will still be happy to do that. I will not revoke him. I will continue him. He will stay in jail for apparently 4 to 6 weeks waiting to get a SATF opening. Otherwise, he's going to get revoked and he's going to get 6 months. What would you want to go in a breakout room and chat with your client about his two options and what he wants to do?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that, Pat, please. And state before they go in, what's your recommendation so that they'll know that before they chat?
Judge, we agree with probation and the SATF recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Diaz, I put you in 4. You need to join the breakout room. Let me see what happened. Y'all should be able to go. It should show breakout rooms. Okay. All right.
Okay, I see Mr. Aguilera is with us. Because is it Miss Garcia or Mr. Garcia?
Miss.
All right, apparently she's got COVID, so she's going to be out for a while. Would that be accurate?
That's what I understand, Judge. And
So there's no use. Go ahead.
I had e-filed a motion for a bond. Now that she's got COVID, I would really like to have a bond so if I could get her out in the next day or so and do this by Zoom or whatever you want to next time. I know that jail has got issues with COVID, but I understand that it is a conviction and she's not necessarily entitled to a bond, but
I don't even see that I have any paperwork on Miss Garcia. Is that possible?
No, Your Honor, because she is an inmate.
Ah, all right.
she is an inmate, yes.
Nick, I'll take a look at that, but don't get a warm fuzzy feeling that's going to happen.
I understand, Judge.
If I can give my 2 cents, I'm not sure if it's true, but I've heard a rumor that if they've got COVID, they're not releasing them.
Okay, I didn't know. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
I can't say I blame them. At the same time, the family's going to ask me about trying to get her out of there. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And if probation can chime in regards to that, we would prefer she stay right where she's at.
All right. Well, for right now, she's staying where she's at. But Mick, I will look at that and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Thank you. May I be excused?
You bet. Ms. Corley, have we got paperwork on Mr. Vasquez ready yet?
Your Honor, you have to sign it. As soon as you sign it, then I can send it to you.
Time out. Let's do that. I don't have any paperwork on Mr. Vasquez yet. I don't know why that is. Oh, wait, there it is. Don't pay the ransom. I escaped.
Okay, okay.
Got it. Okay, that should be signed and back to you.
Okay, it'll be a while, Your Honor, before I get it.
Okay, let's see what else we got. We ready on Mr. Napier?
Yes, Judge. I'm ready here, Judge. Thank you. We've conferred with probation and with Guillermo and
Okay. It's cause number 643-870, State of Texas versus Ishawn Napier, represented by Mr. Pat Hancock. Mr. Napier and Mr. Hancock, the first document I need you to identify your signatures on is entitled "A Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference." Mr. Napier, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Hancock, as attorney for Mr. Napier, is this your signature on this document?
it is, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. The next document I see is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked as an adjudication of guilt following a deferred adjudication, and the defendant has a limited right of appeal. Is this your signature on this document also, Mr. Napier?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hancock, as attorney for Mr. Napier, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
And once again, representing the Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office is District Criminal District Attorneys Megan Galloway and Guillermo Flores. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who I remind is still under oath. And Mr. Hancock, my understanding is this is an uncontested motion to revoke probation. Is that accurate?
It is, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Napier, in cause 643-870 on the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
You'll enter a plea of true, Zyshawn.
Court accepts the plea of true with an explanation. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties the status of Mr. Napier's probation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on July 30th of 2021. He has completed all 36 hours of his community service, and he has paid $979, which is his case in full. He has completed his stress class. He has had 2 positive drug tests for marijuana and 1 diluted drug test and 1 negative drug test that occurred between the 2 positives. This is his first violation report, first MTR, and his his criminal history includes an arrest for murder, which was dismissed for further investigation, and an unlawful carrying of a weapon in a motor vehicle, and that one was taken into consideration with this probation. His officer is recommending that we add the CATSNP class.
And Mr. Hancock.
Judge, look, I think this young man's doing a good job. He's completed his community service hours. He's taken the class. He's paid his money. I think he tested positive in May after being placed on deferred in March, and then test negative in June. So I think he's good to go. He's got a very good support group and his mom and dad. He's more than willing to do these catnip courses. I've conferred with him on that, and we'd respectfully ask for you to go along with that recommendation, Your Honor.
And state recommendation?
No, the state agrees with probation's recommendation. We can add the CATSNP.
Susan, what was the initial fine on this case?
Judge, the initial fine was $300.
And 36 hours community service, is that correct?
36 hours, and he has completed all 36.
I understand. Mr. Napier, and call 643-870 on the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. The court accepts your plea of true. I grant the state's motion to revoke your deferred adjudication probation. I adjudicate you guilty of the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun. I sentence you to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year. Assess a $300 fine plus court cost, 36 hours community service. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, New Intervention Program, outpatient drug, weekly report and UA. Pat, if he shows me 4 clean UAs in a row, I'll take him off weekly, put him back on monthly.
And Judge, you want a weekly report or just weekly UA?
I'm sorry, just weekly UA. He's on probation. Thank you for correcting me. He gets credit for anything he's done or any monies he's paid. Susan, what did I forget?
You had stress class on the original one, which
Oh.
he's done. Do you want that on this?
APSE, put that back on there because he's already done it. He gets credit for doing that, obviously. I think that's it. State, what did I miss? All right, Patrick, his big punishment is
Right, Judge,
taken
nothing
off
new.
deferred. He stays on probation. He starts over. He gets credit for anything he's done. He's already done his money. He's already done his PSE course and his community service hours. So basically, he needs to finish the outpatient drug course and not have any more marijuana hits. Fair enough?
Fair enough, Judge. We appreciate you.
All right. Good luck, Mr. Napier. Thank you, Mr. Hancock.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Napier.
Yes,
Because you're starting all over. Miss Benavides is going to be sending you and your attorney some paperwork. You need to fill that out right away. And the court will be sending it to probation, and then probation is going to be contacting you because you have to go through orientation again, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
If you do not hear from orientation by 5 o'clock on Monday, you need to call them. And I'll give you the phone number so you can write this down and your attorney can write this down. It's 210
Yes, ma'am.
335
Mhm.
7446.
All right.
Okay?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
they should be reaching out to you via either email or cell phone. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Susan,
Okay,
Patrick,
Dave.
don't go anywhere just yet. I forgot about this handgun thing. What do we do with the handgun? Did we destroy it or we give it to the attorney?
You, Judge, you gave it to me. I don't think I've ever picked it up. So-
Okay, well, once again, the handgun is awarded to the attorney's additional attorney's fees not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friend. Thank you for that. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Napier?
No, Judge.
Once again, good luck, Mr. Napier. Thank you, Mr. Hancock. Y'all are out of here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Brendel, back on cause 6355510. You and Mr. Diaz have come out of your chat room, and have you elected whether y'all would like to go to SATF or like to be revoked? Those are your two options.
So I mean, the other option is 6 months in jail, compared to the rehab program.
I'm sorry, say it again. That's the option. Yes, correct.
2 options. I mean, he elected to go ahead and go to the rehab program, but we were wondering how long that would last. He's in school and everything, so.
It's
inpatient. I'm sorry, go ahead, Susan.
It's 120 days, but right now, because of COVID and the medical screening, it's 4 to 6 weeks before we can even get him to the facility. So he's looking at 5.5 to 6 months being locked up in the facility or the jail. Whereas if he does his 6-month jail time, he may get 2 for 1 and be out quicker. If his concern is to get out quicker, that would probably be faster to go the jail route. If he truly wants to get some rehab, then he needs to go to SATF. Of course, we would prefer he gets the help, but you know, I understand his circumstances.
So
with
what
his
is it going to
daughter.
be, like the state hospital or something?
No,
Or-
we have our own private lockdown facilities down on Apple White Road.
Okay, so he'd basically be spending 6 months there instead of at the jail.
Right. And,
Well-
and there's no good time or anything like that down there like they have at the jail.
Well, yeah, can I talk to him about that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Pat, send them back out to the chat room, please.
Excuse me, Judge, I'm sorry.
Send them back to the chat room.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Brendel and Mr. Diaz.
Yes.
Okay, are we ready on Jonathan Flores? We
Yes,
got Mr.
Judge.
Perez with us? All right, Johnny, you ready to proceed?
Sorry, say that again, Judge.
All right, this cause number 641-356, State of Texas versus Jonathan Flores, represented by Mr. John Perez Jr. This is a second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Mr. Flores and Mr. Perez, first document I need you to identify your signatures on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference, which reports to have both your signatures on it. Mr. Flores, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Perez, as attorney for Mr. Flores, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is an adjudication of guilt following a deferred adjudication. The defendant has a limited right of appeal. Is this your signature on this document also, Mr. Flores?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And is this your signature as attorney for Mr. Flores on this document also, Mr. Perez?
Yes, Judge.
I neglected to mention, in this case and all cases we hear today, representing the state, Assistant Criminal District Attorneys Megan Galloway and Guillermo Flores. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who has been previously sworn. My understanding, Mr. Perez, is this is uncontested motion to revoke probation. Is that accurate?
Correct, Judge.
This is a second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Mr. Flores, how do you plead on this document, sir?
I plead true.
All right, Ms. Gross, please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Flores' probation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Flores has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on July the 1st of 2021. He has paid $617 towards his fees and has a balance of $364. He is current at this time. He has completed all 48 hours of his community service. However, we have no proof of enrollment or completion of him taking a firearm safety class. He has had 2 positive drug tests for marijuana, 1 diluted drug test. This is his first violation report, first motion to revoke. His criminal history includes an arrest for discharging a firearm in a municipal population. His officer is recommending that the defendant show substantial compliance within 30 days and that he be placed on weekly drug testing.
Hey, Mr. Flores, you gonna stop smoking marijuana? Mr. Flores, can you hear me?
He might have froze, Judge. Doesn't look to be moving.
Did we lose him? Oh, I see him. Mr. Flores, can you hear me, sir?
Oh, yes, sir.
Are you gonna stop smoking marijuana? That's kind of the elephant in the room here.
Yes, sir. I will stop smoking marijuana.
All right, good answer, sir. And Mr. Perez, what are you requesting?
I'm requesting that we follow the agreement, the recommendation, Judge. My client will be monitored. He will not smoke weed anymore, and he'd be happy to go ahead and be tested to make sure that that's proven. He will substantially comply with his probation by registering for the firearm class within 30 days and hopefully completing so.
I'm not worrying about the firearms class. From his record, it looks like he already knows how to use one.
Safety, of course, Judge. Safety.
Of course. Okay, state recommendation, please.
Your Honor, we agree with probation's recommendation. However, we would ask for the defendant to register on the drug education course in addition to probation's recommendation.
Judge, I would ask that a DOAP class be held in abeyance. If he tests positive one more time, then he has to do something. But I think he can just stop.
Don't worry, I'm not going to give him DOAP. At this point, you should be very afraid. So he's actually been on probation with us since April. So
Yes,
April,
sir.
May, June, July, August, plus or minus 5 months, we all agree.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And Susan, what was the original fine on this case?
$350, Your Honor.
And number of community service hours, I know he's done them, it looks like 48.
48.
And Mr. Perez, were you the original attorney on this case?
I was not, Judge.
What did we do with the handgun on this case, Susan? Do we know if we awarded it to the attorney or we destroyed it, or what did we do with it?
I do not know, Your Honor.
Mr. Flores, you were there. Do you recall what we did with his handgun?
No, sir.
Okay.
Let me look and see if it's on the KPI.
Who was the original attorney? Do we know that?
It'll be on the KPI. Hang on.
Okay.
It was Lisa Voigt.
I'm trying to imagine Lisa with a gun. That would be a very scary circumstance. I'm just going to basically say we're going to do with it whatever it is we already did with it. That take care of that. All right. Mr. Flores, in clause 641-356, court accepts your plea of true with an explanation on the second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. I grant the state's motion to revoke your deferred adjudication probation, find you guilty of the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun, sentence you to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, assess a $350 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, firearm safety course, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, which is our outpatient drug program, weekly UAs. Once he shows me 4 clean weekly UAs, John, I will take him off weekly, put him back on monthly. I won't know he's done that if he does it. So he'll have to tell you, you'll have to tell me, and I'll confirm it with probation. Handgun is either whatever our original assessment and use of the handgun was, either awarded to the original attorney as additional attorney's fees not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends, or destroyed, whichever we did. I don't recall what we did.
Judge, if I may.
Yeah.
It says motion to destroy weapon was denied and awarded to DA investigator.
Then that's what we're doing. Awarded the DA investigator. And what did I miss, Susan?
That's it, Your Honor.
All right. Basically, he goes back on probation. We took away his deferred. That's his punishment. He stops smoking marijuana, finishes my outpatient drug course. I think we're going to all have a nice life. Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Flores?
I have some
No, Your Honor.
instructions.
Go ahead, Susan.
Mr. Flores, you will be receiving some paperwork from Ms. Benavides. You have to fill out a new data sheet. Your attorney has to fill out some paperwork. You need to return that as soon as possible. Then it will go to the probation department. They will be calling you because you have to go through orientation all over again. If you do not hear from them by 5 o'clock on Monday, then on Tuesday, you need to call this number, 210-335-7446. Tell them that you need to go through orientation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. If you have any questions, you can always call your officer because your officer is going to stay the same.
Okay. Also, I neglected to mention he gets credit for any monies paid or any programs completed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge,
All
one
right.
last, I just wanted to confirm, Mr. Flores, do you have an ankle monitor on you?
Yes, sir.
Judge, can we get that removed?
We're going to recall all pretrial bond conditions, including that, on everybody that we deal with today. That'll go in today at some point, but it probably won't become active until tomorrow, John.
Okay.
All right. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Flores?
Nothing for defense.
Good luck, Mr. Flores. Thank you, Mr. Perez. Y'all are out of here.
Thank you, Judge.
And I am
And
sending that paperwork right now.
just on Mr. Vasquez we're talking about.
No, on Mr. Flores, a new application.
you're sending it to them. You're not sending it to me, correct?
Right, I'm sending it to Mr. Bettis and then it'll go to Mr.
Did I
Floyd.
get documents back on Mr. Vasquez yet?
Yes, Your Honor, you just need to print them.
Judge and Pat, I will be back in 2 minutes.
Mr. Flores, you can log off.
Can I pop into a breakout room with my client while we're waiting for everybody? Mr. Vasquez.
You should be able to go back into the one that you had.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez, please, do you see an option for breakout rooms?
If not, I'll move it to another one and that way it might be easier.
Yes, I do.
Okay, go back to breakout room 3. Hey, Pat, quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Does judge still allow people to get a time served if he revokes their probation and puts them in jail as long as they pay within 30 days?
He's done that, yes.
I don't suppose there's any way for me to find out how much that would be for Mr.
They'll do it when Susan gives them all the court summary information. It should be, she'll give you a balance.
Okay. And that'll be minus the probation fees for the whole time, right?
Who's the defendant?
Vasquez.
Hang on. 1,087. And no, judge makes them pay the whole thing.
1,087. Okay. All right. I'm going to pop back into a breakout room with my client, Pat. That's okay.
Sure.
Mr. Vasquez, go back to the breakout room.
Yeah, it's 1,087, and then there's a $2 fee that they have to pay
Okay.
when they make the payment. So it'd be a total of 1,089.
Terrific. Thank you. Mr. Vasquez, go back to the breakout room. You're going to go to the, I can't hear you, Mr. Vasquez. You're going to click on breakout rooms, and then there he goes.
Okay, are we ready to proceed on Orlando Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I've got cause 610326 and 628026. State of Texas versus Orlando Martinez. And 610326 is a first amended motion to revoke community supervision. And 628026 is a first amended motion to revoke community supervision. Representing Mr. Martinez are Mr. Raymond Martinez and Miss Victoria Cruz. Once again, representing the state, Ms. Megan Galloway, Mr. Guillermo Flores. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who I remind is still under oath. Mr. Martinez, in both cause 610326 and 628026, each has a cover sheet entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearings by Video Conference. Is this your signature on both these documents, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Martinez, it looks like these are your signatures on both these documents also as attorney for Mr. Martinez. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Next document I'm looking at for both cases is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Is this your signature on this document on both of these cases, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Martinez, attorney, as an attorney for Mr. Orlando Martinez, is this your signature on each of these documents?
It is, Your Honor.
We're going to start with clause 610326, which is once again a first amended motion to revoke community supervision. My understanding is this is an uncontested motion. Is that accurate, Ray?
It is, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Orlando Martinez in clause 610326 on the first amended motion to revoke community supervision. How do you plead, sir?
True.
And Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Martinez probation in clause 610326?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on August 12th of 2021. On this case, he has paid off the balance, which was only $20 because it is running concurrent with the other case. He has not completed any of his 36 hours of community service. He has, however, completed DWI education, victim impact panel, and the CATSNP program. He has had one positive for alcohol on the Smart Start mobile device, where he's currently testing 4 times a day. He had a high BRAC of 0.081, and he has skipped 24 times. He has had 1 failure to submit, 2 diluted drug tests, and 6 negative drug tests. His criminal history includes an arrest for obstruction of highway, a prior, and then the 2 offenses that he's currently on probation for at this time. His officer is recommending that he be placed on a SCRAM device for the remaining term of probation, which will carry him to November 11th of 2021.
And Mr. Martinez, Ray, rather, what are you requesting with regard to Mr. Orlando Martinez case?
Judge, honestly, he and I talked about whether or not it would be appropriate for him to go to SCRAM or stay on the breath device, and he might want to address that. But in support of those recommendations, Judge, I'd just like to point out some things about his probation.
Sure.
He's alleged to have left the county a couple of times. He took the kids to Corpus for a couple of days, didn't realize, or should have realized he should have gotten permission for that. I would prefer to characterize the missed test as being missed and not skipped intentionally, because the number of times that he's missed in comparison to the number of times he's tested, it's a relatively small number. A large number of the missed tests started in June. The first 6 months of his probation, Judge, he was on SCRAM that he completed without violation. And so as soon as he switched over, he had some timing difficulties in getting all the tests done, mainly because of the 5 o'clock in the morning test, just not getting up and waking up on time. And his PO admonished him about that, and he got better about it as time went on. Most of the missed tests are at the beginning of the probation, at the beginning of the Smart Start. On the one positive, Judge, on August the 7th, he's going to plead true to that and admit to that. Unfortunately, his uncle passed, and the family had a gathering related to the passing of his uncle, and he succumbed to the temptation of drinking on that unfortunate passing of his uncle. But that's the only one that's a positive, Judge, out of all of these tests. He was getting ready to pay off his community service. As you know, he's paid a lot of his probation, so that was the next thing in line in terms of payments. I guess we can let him address, Judge, whether he wants to agree to put the SCRAM for the duration of the probation.
Okay.
My question,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
my question is whether that's going to be in lieu of the Smart Start, or is he going to do both?
Ray, we're beyond SCRAM. At this point, we're looking at either SATF or revocation. I've got a guy who's got 3 DWI arrests. The first one was an obstruction, apparently, which I guess he successfully completed probation on. Does that sound right?
He completed that one, I think.
And now I've got him on 2 DWI greater than 1.5 probation, and he's blowing legally intoxicated on the machine. I've run out of options.
Well, Judge, as I said, that's one violation in 9 months of probation. I don't think there was any positives other than that one. Does the court know whether or not we're doing whether the jail is doing the work release program yet, or is it still suspended?
I'm not sure.
Here's what I'm offering. Either he volunteers for SATF, I'm not just going to order him over there and he's not going to pay attention, that kind of thing. Or I'm going to give him 6 months instead of the I could probably give him 2 years if I felt like it, but he's done substantial stuff. I agree with the defense. He's done substantial stuff, but he keeps falling off the wagon on me. And I'm not going to take any more chances with Mr. Martinez. So he can do 6 months in jail for both cases running concurrent, or he can volunteer for SATF on both cases and we'll leave him on probation. You want to go in a chat room and talk about that?
We can, Judge, but I think I'm going to need time to look into whether or not, unless the court's not going to even consider work release if it's available. He's got a family, he's got a support, he's the only provider, and he needs to work, Judge. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but he does need to work.
Well, there's no work release during COVID is my understanding. They'll let people stay at home and be on home release or whatever, but I'm not doing that. So I've got a guy with 2 pending DWIs and a prior obstruction, and he's still blowing legally intoxicated on the machine. My options are very limited, and you of all people know that. So why don't y'all go in the chat room and see what you want to do? We'd all like him to go to SATF and change the way he thinks about stuff, but that's going to take him away from his work, just like you pointed out.
Understood.
You want to go chat?
Yes.
All right, Pat, please put him in a chat room. And Victoria may want to go in there too. I don't know.
Yes.
And did we get Mr. Brendel back?
Yes.
Are they still chatting?
I'm back. I had a question about the program. Obviously, it would cost a lot of money to be somewhere like that for 6 months. Will he be incurring any kind of bills for that treatment?
If he goes to SATF, is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Susan, I don't think so. Susan?
No.
Okay.
There are no fees. However, obviously, he's not going to be able to work. He's not going to be able to have visitors. He is locked down. The first month, I don't even think he's allowed mail or telephone calls or anything. So he will be basically, once he gets there, out of total communication for at least a month. And then after that, I think they're allowed mail, but there are no visits out there. And he will not be incurring any new fees, but he will still be obligated to pay the fees that he already owes once he gets out. And then once he gets out, he will be going to a program called Aftercare, where they, as part of their program, may want him to go to some additional classes depending on his performance at SATF.
Okay, and that would be like an outpatient program, right?
After he's done his 120 days at SATF and his probably 6 weeks in jail to get cleared. So he's looking at being locked up, having no contact with the outside world for 5.5 months.
At this SATA facility?
Yes. It's a lockdown facility. There's no visitor.
Oh, but he's not going to do any jail time, no, if he picks that, right?
It's going to take 4 to 6 weeks in order for him. He's going to sit in the jail for probably another 6 weeks because he has to go through a brand new quarantine with the jail for the SATF. Then he has to go through a medical clearance. So if he has any type of medical history or he's on any strange kind of medications or something, he may not even qualify. And then we'll be back here and then, judge is offering one or the other. So then he would probably be sentenced.
Okay. Well, I mean, if there's only 2 options, we talked about it. I think him getting help with everything, and that would be better than sitting in jail. Is he on right now?
Yes. Now, I'm not going to lie. If he takes the jail time, he may get out of there quicker because they offer good time. Whereas SATF is going to be day for day, and he's going to sit there in jail for probably a month and a half, and then he's going to sit for 4 months at SATF. Whereas if he takes jail, I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other, but I know that he has an ill daughter. If you're trying to get him out as quick as possible, jail time is probably going to be the way to go because he's going to get credit for any time he's got. And then, if he qualifies, he'll get maybe 2 or 3 for 1, whatever the jail happens to be giving.
Okay, Mr. Diaz, you heard all that we talked about. You still want to stick with the...
With the SATF, I have my two daughters outside. I have school. I have a job. I'm probably gonna lose school and the job by taking either or. I want to get help, but I need to be with my daughters. Um, and I know it's taking 4 to 6 weeks just to get into the program. I wouldn't mind doing the program. I don't know if there's any way I can get it expedited.
No.
You want to say, let me go call somebody real quick, okay?
The quickest I can get you there to start your 120 days is gonna be 4 to 6 weeks. So if you go to SATF, you're gonna be locked up 5.5, 6 months.
How would you do?
And how does good time work?
Judge, can they do this in a breakout room? Your Honor, I hate to interrupt, but the 226 is still waiting on me for 3 people.
If the jail gives you good time, like if the judge gives you 180 days, and if they're offering good time at 2 for 1, if you're good, you would be out in 90 days. Plus, you're going to get credit for any days that you've already been in jail because the judge is a nice guy.
Okay. With that being said, I can get counseling once I'm done. I know I'll be good in here. I'll go ahead and take the jail time.
Okay, and there are programs available there at the jail that you can ask to go to. Okay.
Okay.
So take advantage of those, and if nothing else, do it for your kids. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Judge.
Mr. Brendel, I don't want to rush y'all on this decision. You can still go out to another breakout room and chat some more if you want. He's indicated to us right now that he would just take the jail sentence and go. But if you want to chat with him some more about that before you make an ultimate decision, that's fine with us.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'll chat with them a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna move you. Okay. All righty. You should go see a breakout room.
And then Pat, did you hear that Miss Corley needed to go to a breakout room or somewhere?
No, I don't need to go to
She's
breakout
ready
room,
to
Judge.
go,
I
Your
just,
Honor.
Oh, you don't?
I'm
get
waiting.
ready?
But before we go on the record, can I ask you a couple of questions, Judge?
Sure.
So are you still, is the option available for them to be revoked? And if their family is able to pay the monies that they owe, that you would go ahead and JSAP them at that time if it's within 30 days?
It's on a case-by-case basis. I don't, I'm not,
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look over Mr. Vasquez's facts again, but
Okay, very good.
I can't
Okay,
tell you that
we're
up
ready
front.
to go. Sure. I just didn't know. Okay, yeah, we're ready to go, Judge.
All right. This is cause number 637223, State of Texas versus Fred Vasquez, represented by Miss Linda Corley. This is a motion to revoke community supervision. And once again, representing state, Ms. Megan Galloway, and Mr. Guillermo Flores, representing the Bexar County CSCD is Ms. Susan Gross, who our mind is still under oath. Mr. Vasquez and Ms. Corley, the first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference that purports to have both your signatures on it. Mr. Vasquez, is this your signature on this document, sir? And your microphone is turned off.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Corley, as attorney for Mr. Vasquez, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Judge. One moment, Fred, if you'll get yourself and just use your press down your space bar when you want to talk.
Okay.
Sorry, Judge. It's very noisy.
Mr. Vasquez needs to turn off his microphone. He's got too much background noise. It's not his fault. And that's we're specifically talking with him. Is that okay?
He's right
Yes.
there.
Yes. You have to hit the mute, Mr. Vasquez, and then when you want to talk, just press the space bar and hold it, okay?
Okay.
I didn't know it worked that way. I'm learning things.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right.
Learn something every day.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has the right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. And Mr. Vasquez, once again, is this your signature on this document also?
Hold down the space bar while you talk.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Corley, as attorney for Mr. Vasquez, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Ms. Corley, my understanding is this is an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor. We have trues and untrues with the explanation.
Okay. Mr. Vasquez, in clause 637-223 on the motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir? And if you like, Ms. Corley, you can jump in here and clarify for us what your pleas are going to be.
Okay, so Judge, we are pleading untrue with the explanation to the scram violation and the drinking of alcohol. He had a tampering. Those
If
two
you
we
have the
plead untrue.
motion, if you have the motion, you need to go down the numbers and plead true, or not true.
Okay, let me find that.
Let's start with number
believe I
2, then 16, 17, 18, and 19. And for purposes of the record, let's say 19A and 19B. So let's start with 2, which is consuming alcoholic beverages on or about July 7th, 2021.
Okay, that's untrue with explanation.
Okay. Number 16, which alleges failed to attend or register for a DWI intervention program.
True with some explanation as well.
Okay. 17 talks about failed to comply with
That's it.
instructions of Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program. He failed to register for the outpatient treatment program.
True with explanation.
The next one is number 18, which talks about allegedly failed to register or attend a DWI victim impact panel.
True with explanation.
And 19A talks about scram violation on or about July 7th, 2021, where it allegedly detected alcohol.
Untrue with explanation.
All right. And the other one I'm gonna call 19B talks about a confirmed tamper on the scram device. It's unclear what they're saying he did or didn't do, that it's a tamper, but that's what it said.
Yes, sir. Untrue with explanation.
All right. So I've got true with an explanation, 16, 17, 18, not true with an explanation, 2, 19A and 19B. Would that be accurate, Ms. Corley?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Vasquez's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. His reporting has been good. We last saw him on July 22nd of 2021. He's paid $125 towards his fees. He has a balance of $1,087. He is delinquent $467. We have no proof of any of his 36 hours of community service having been completed. He has 7 negative drug tests, and he failed to submit to drug testing on 1 occasion. He has 4 positives for alcohol. 2 of those were detected via urinalysis drug testing, and 2 of them were on alcohol monitoring device. He's currently on a scram device, and he has had 1 detection of alcohol and 1 tamper. We have no proof of enrollment or completion of the victim impact panel, CATSNP, or DWI intervention classes. This is his 2nd violation report, 1st motion to revoke. His criminal history includes an arrest for possession of a prohibited knife and a prior DWI. His officer is recommending that he be placed at SATF, followed by the aftercare program. And 1 additional note, Your Honor, restitution had been assessed. We have sent multiple letters to the victim, and we have received no response. So the probation department is requesting that the court close the matter of interest on the restitution.
Was there an accident? Is that what the issue was?
I'm not sure, Judge.
We'll close restitution, so that won't be an issue.
All right, and then his original fine, because I know you're gonna ask, is $400.
Ms. Corley, let's hear the state's recommendation, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Go ahead, state.
Your Honor, we agree with probation's recommendation.
Okay, I've got a gentleman, Ms. Corley, on DWI 2nd, and I can't stop him from drinking. And I understand there's issues with the 1 test on the scram device that they say was a positive, but there are other positives out there. I'm kind of down to either he volunteers to go to SATF or he gets revoked. Have you got some input? You want to go with your client and chat with him about that? We've already gone over with other clients the problems inherent with voluntary
Yes.
combative, even if he wants to go, it's kind of crazy to sit in jail for 2 months
Yeah.
before you
I
get
talked
there.
to him. I actually already talked to him about that, Your Honor. I knew that's probably what we were coming to. Judge, his family, he has been having trouble financially, and some of the violations that were listed were not included on the MTR. So on the record, I object to those being considered. But however, he does have family members that may very well be able to come up with the total that he owes, and we were requesting if the court would consider. I believe he has 17 days in credit. If the court would allow him to be revoked, and if his family is able to pay that balance within 30 days, if the judge would consider, would allow him to be time served at that point. I know you've done that on some cases. We know the judge, you already had, I believe, the first violation report on, and I think that probably included some of the violations that were mentioned today that aren't on the MTR, probably in that, and that's when you put him on scram. Since he's been on scram, the only thing I think he's had, probation would have to clarify that, is the July 7th violation. And there's some question about that. Apparently it was a minute amount of alcohol. I don't have that report in front of me, but he also thinks he might have had some problems with water, maybe with the thing, but in any case, we do have he also, just to let you know, he was actually in process of taking the classes. He was ordered to take them within 10 days of his last compliance hearing. He had money issues. He was able to get registered, and he was actually almost complete on 2 of those, but then he was arrested. So he probably have to, start those over, but he had those in process. So he was trying to comply, Your Honor. He does have family support as well. And although we're just, if you would allow him to have revocation, and if his family's able to pay the amount to get him out and allow him out early, that would be what we request.
Let me, you brought up a couple of points I need to clarify. What specific classes was he attending when he got arrested?
Okay, so I believe he was I think he was almost finished with CAT-SNP. And we can ask him.
Let's stop there for a second and ask Mr.
Yes.
Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, were you enrolled in the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, which is the outpatient drug program? And did you actually attend several classes in that course?
Yes, sir. I was on my last week. I'm completing one of the classes, and I did complete another class. So I had completed 2 out of the 3 classes.
Okay, so how many total number of classes did you go to in the CAT-SNP program?
2 of them, sir.
2 of them.
No, 7, and I was just 1 week away from completing that last one.
Okay, hang on, I'm being confused. Did you go to 7 classes in CAT-SNP? 7?
7, and I was 1 week away from just finishing the last one.
Okay, and I guess the whole thing is 8 classes. So you did 7 out of 8 classes. That sound right?
7 out of 8 weeks.
And did you do any other program? DWI intervention, victim impact panel?
I did the victim impact. I completed that one as well.
Okay, so you completed the victim impact. That only takes what, 2 hours by the time you turn it
Yes,
on.
sir.
Okay, Susan, do we have any confirmation of any of that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And also, Ms. Corley, you brought up the fact that y'all don't agree that the scram violations were valid. Can you give us some insight into why they weren't valid? There's one we're talking about on 7 July 21.
Your Honor, I'd like my client to address that.
Sure. Mr. Vasquez, what happened with the scram bracelet on 7 July 21? The state's telling me that you got a positive for alcohol and that you tampered with the device. What is your side of the story on that?
I have got a phone call from Scram from REMS, and they notified me about that incident. And the only explanation I came up with at that time was that I was at a Walmart and I had sprayed some cologne, and apparently it got on my skin. And that's the only explanation I have for that one, because I know I definitely didn't drink no alcohol. And as far as the tampering, I believe it was because it was water.
You think it was water? I mean, is that what you're telling me? Water?
Yes. I think it got.
How did it get water? Were you taking a shower? Did you spill water on it? What happened?
Yes, sir. When I was showering.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I believe he did have a clean UA on June 30th.
How much, Pat, can you tell me how much jail time Mr. Vasquez has credit for on his record?
17 days, Your Honor.
17?
Yes, Your Honor. That would include today.
Okay. Mr. Vasquez in class 637-223, the court accepts on the motion to revoke community supervision. The court accepts your plea of true with an explanation to numbers 16, 17, and 18, and not true with an explanation to numbers 2, 19A, and 19B. I grant the state's motion to revoke your community supervision. Don't anybody get excited just yet. I sentence you to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail. Assess a $400 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. However, if you pay in full the $1,087 you owe the Bexar County Probation Department, and I'm going to say, can they pay that within 10 days, Linda?
Well, Judge, actually, I told him he would have 30 days. The family would have 30 days. I
Well,
think that's what
he's going to be sitting in jail the entire time. That's what we're looking at.
Mr. Vasquez, do you think they can do it in 10 days?
Y'all want to go to a breakout room, and the bottom line is that, you know, I'm granting what you requested initially.
Yes.
It's just a matter of paying the money, and I don't really want to be in a position of saying, you know, if you don't pay the money, you stay in jail, which is kind of where we're at, because we're trying to do him a favor, because it's all this COVID stuff is obviously mitigating our sentencing considerations.
Yes, sir. I just don't know if they can come up with it that fast, but they do believe they can come up with it.
I can say within 30 days, with the understanding he's going to stay in jail serving his sentence until that money's paid. And then once the money's paid, I won't know about it. He'll have to tell you, he'll have to tell me, I'll confirm it, and then I can waive the remainder of his jail sentence. You want to go in the breakout room and chat with Mr. Vasquez about those options?
No, I think that's exactly what I talked about. It was 30 days, within 30 days. If they can get it done in 10 days, great. Then we can let you know earlier.
Okay. And basically he's just going to stay in jail during that time frame. In a perfect world, he'd pay it today and he'd be out of jail today, that kind of deal. All right, Mr. Vasquez, is that okay with you?
That is perfectly fine, sir.
State, is that okay with you?
No objection, Your Honor.
I know I'm not going to ask Ms. Gross because she wants everybody to go to jail for a year. We all know that.
No.
All right, Mr. Vasquez, if in the you've already been sentenced to a year in the Bexar County Jail, if you are able to pay the monies you owe, which is $1,087, and I think Ms. Gross will tell us you had $2 of that for a processing fee, within 30 days of today, I will waive your jail sentence. And I will, once again, I will not know if you do that. So if your family or you do that, you got to let your attorney know. She'll let me know. I'll confirm it. And then I immediately enter a modification on your sentence. It says alternate amend waive remainder of jail sentence. All right. Everybody okay on that?
Yes, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Vasquez. Thank you, Ms. Corley.
Thank you, Judge. Fred, I'll call your family this afternoon. Okay. May I be excused, Your Honor?
You bet. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Judge.
We do a little writing here and then we'll come back. Okay, that takes care of Mr. Vasquez, and we're back on Mr. Martinez and Ms. Cruz and Mr. Orlando Martinez. This is cause number 628-026 and 610-326. And Ray, what did y'all decide you wanted to do?
Judge, he's going to decline to go to SATF, and he's going to ask the court if he could have a period of time before he has to start the sentence so he can make arrangements for his family and whatnot.
Today is what, Thursday?
Thursday, the 19th.
Can I have him report on Monday? Would that give him enough time? 1, 2, 3, 4 days, basically 3 days?
Well, logistically, of course, Judge, but I think he was more concerned about finances and trying to get a paycheck or two into the bank before. So we were thinking more like a few weeks.
A few weeks, that's not happening.
While continuing on his devices and whatnot, Judge.
How about on the 30th, which is a Monday, which is substantially more time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's like 10 days. I'm willing to do that. Is that going to be okay with you guys?
We're at the mercy of the court at this point, Judge. So whatever you give us, that's what we'll take.
Fair enough. Okay, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Orlando Martinez in clause 610326 on the first amended motion to enter community supervision. The court accepts your plea of true. I grant the state's motion to revoke your community supervision. Although I could sentence you to a year in the Bexar County Jail on this case and the other case and run them consecutively, i.e. stack them, making it 2 years, your attorneys have convinced me that you've learned your lesson and that a 6-month sentence running concurrent would be enough to resolve this case. And Susan, I apologize. What's the underlying amount of fine on 610326?
Judge, I am looking that up real quick because it was taken into or it was combined with the other ones. 300.
Thank you. All right, let me start over. Mr. Orlando Martinez in clause 610326, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation on the first amended motion to revoke community supervision. I grant the state's motion to revoke your community supervision. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail instead of a year. I could sentence you to, I says, a $300 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. This case to run concurrent with 628026. You report to the Bexar County Jail to serve your sentence at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, August 30th, 2021. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Orlando Martinez on 610326?
No, Your Honor.
And 628026, Mr. Martinez, on the first amended motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
True, Mr. Martinez.
True.
And there's basically no variation on these two cases, Susan. Would that be accurate?
That is correct, Your Honor. And the fine on this case is also $300.
And Mr. Martinez, Mr. Ray Martinez, is there anything else you need to add on this case, or are they both basically similar?
They're same allegations in both cases, Judge. It's the same facts.
And same question for the state. Is there anything that you need to add on this case we didn't talk about on the other case?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And I missed, what was the original recommendation on these cases through the ADA?
Agree with probation.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Orlando Martinez in clause 628026, court accepts your plea of true to all conditions with a explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your community supervision. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, although I could sentence you to a year in the Bexar County Jail, assessing a $300 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. This case to run concurrent with 610326. Defendant to report to the Bexar County Jail at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, August 30th, 2021 to serve his sentence. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Orlando Martinez in either 610326 or 628026?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ray Martinez and Ms. Victoria Cruz, please have a short conversation with Mr. Orlando Martinez about how lucky he is that y'all represent him, because you have seen me sack people many, 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 many times before, and he could be going to jail for 2 years and not just 6 months. Okay?
Understood, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Orlando Martinez. Thank you, Ray, and thank you, Victoria.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, paperwork will be processed this afternoon. Your officer should have it tomorrow. And then you'll be able to go and turn in your Smart Start mobile device, but you have Scram.
Smart Start.
It's a Smart Start.
and then you'll be able to go turn in your device. You've been revoked, so you're not obligated to blow into it anymore. Okay, but it'll take a day or two for Smart Start to receive the removal order to enable you to turn it in. So be in contact with your officer, maybe at like 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and see if the paperwork has been sent to Smart Start. If so, you can go turn it in tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll probably be Monday, okay?
Okay, so just blow in the machine until I turn it in,
No,
correct?
no, you are off probation. You don't have to do anything anymore,
Okay,
okay?
yes,
You've
ma'am.
been sent, you've been revoked and sentenced, so you're not obligated to blow in the machine anymore.
Understood.
All right, good luck to you, sir. You're free to go.
Okay, back on the record on 6355110 State of Texas versus Joe Diaz, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. Mr. Brendel, I can't remember the last time I sent you out into a chat room what y'all were talking about, but I think what you have told me is at this point in time, the defendant has been given the option by me to either go to SATF or to do his jail sentence of 6 months. And because of the incredibly long wait to get into SATF, he's chosen the jail sentence. Does that sound right? And
You're
Mr.
muted,
Brendel,
sir.
your
We can't
microphone's
hear
turned
you.
off.
We talked about it and he decided that he'd rather just go to the SATF thing because you know, we just talked about everything again. So
Okay, so he wants to go to SATF and stay on probation. Is that correct?
yes.
All right. Is that correct, Mr. Diaz? Is that what you want to do?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, all good. Let me do some scribbling here. I gotta black out
Okay.
everything I've already written.
And you understand you're gonna be in custody for 5.5 months or so.
Ms. Gross, please do not talk to the defendant out of volunteering to go to SATF.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just letting him know. I think it's great he's gonna go.
Okay, Mr. Diaz in cause 6355110. On the second amended motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke your probation. Or you continued on probation with all prior requirements and 120 days at the Bexar County Substance Abuse Treatment Facility. You'll be remanded without bond until a SATF opening occurs. Susan, if you would please keep him on your radar or ask his probation officer to keep him on their radar to make sure they don't lose him. I want him to get over to SATF at the earliest possible time. If there's a problem on the medical or any other issues come up, let me know immediately and let Mr. Brendel know immediately.
Yes, sir.
Anything else I need to add on this order other than the fact he's been continued on probation, the motion's been denied, and he's going to SATF? Is that basically it?
SATF and aftercare, Judge?
Of course.
Okay,
I thought that was automatic. It's not.
no.
Yeah, aftercare is very important. Okay, good choice, Mr. Diaz. I know it's going to be a long time, but I hope it benefits you and your family. Mr. Brendel, thank you for your assistance. Y'all are released.
Thank you,
All right.
Judge.
Mr. Diaz, somebody will be sending you paperwork to sign there in the jail to get everything started for your medical clearance and all of that. It may not be today, it may be tomorrow. We're kind of at the mercy of the jail as far as when they can get paperwork to you, okay?
Okay.
But we on our end will prepare it today, and when the jail can get it to you is on them, okay?
I can do what I can.
If for some reason you don't have the paperwork by close of business tomorrow, get a hold of Mr. Brindle and he can call me on Monday and I'll see what's going on, okay?
Okay.
And for purpose of the record, he's staying on deferred. I did not take away his deferred because he volunteered for SATF. So